A shot rings out. Rasputin stumbles, poison failed. Bullets failed. Yet here he is, gasping, alive. But why won't this man, feared and worshipped, simply die? In a dimly lit palace on a freezing December night in 1916, a group of noblemen stands in stunned silence. Rasputin lies still, but something is wrong. His piercing eyes, glowing faintly even in death, seem to follow them from the shadows, unsettling everyone in the room. The silence grows heavy. A door creaks. Someone whispers, "Did it work?" Rasputin's lifeless hand twitches slightly, sending chills down the noblemen's spines. The legend of Russia's mad mystic refuses to end. Rasputin's story begins far from the luxury of the Romanovs' court, in Siberia's frozen wilderness. Born around 1869 to illiterate peasant parents, his early years remain a mystery, adding to the allure that surrounds his later life. Even then, locals whispered that his eyes held an unnatural power, able to mesmerize anyone who looked into them for too long. After marrying a peasant girl at 18, Rasputin embarked on a pilgrimage that forever altered his path. He spent time at the St. Nicholas Monastery and, though he never officially joined the Klists sect, known for ecstatic rituals, rumors of his association with them clung to his name. This fueled the narrative that sin was a gateway to spiritual redemption, a belief Rasputin embraced openly. By the time Rasputin reached St. Petersburg, his charisma and aura of mysticism had drawn followers and enemies. But his journey was not just personal. As Rasputin rose from obscurity, the Romanov dynasty was sliding toward collapse. Rasputin's journey to the Romanovs began in 1905, when he was introduced to Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra by Grand Duchesses Militsa and Anastasia, two noblewomen fascinated by mysticism. At the time, the Romanov family was plagued by personal tragedies and the worsening health of their only son, Tsarevich Alexei. The Tsarina, desperate for any solution, was open to unconventional help, including spiritual advisors like Rasputin. Initially, Rasputin was just another curiosity among the many mystics who drifted through the royal court. But in 1907, everything changed. Alexei suffered a severe hemorrhage that left the Romanovs in despair. With no other options, they summoned Rasputin. After spending the night praying over the boy, Rasputin seemed to perform a miracle. Alexei's condition improved by morning. The doctors were baffled. Whether Rasputin had influenced Alexei directly through hypnosis or simply calmed the panicked Tsarina enough to ease her son's suffering, one thing was clear: Rasputin had succeeded where modern medicine had failed. From that moment, Rasputin was no longer seen as just a wandering mystic. To Tsarina Alexandra, he was a spiritual guardian, sent by God to protect her son and the future of the Russian Empire. Over time, Alexandra's faith in Rasputin deepened into obsession, granting him unprecedented access to the royal family's inner circle. Hope breeds trust, and trust breeds power. As Rasputin's influence over Alexandra grew, rumors spread like wildfire through the Russian aristocracy. It wasn't long before whispers began. Was Rasputin seducing the Tsarina? The truth behind these rumors didn't matter. What mattered was perception, and perception was enough to turn the nobility against him. In a court already teetering on the edge of scandal and political unrest, Rasputin became both a symbol of hope and a scapegoat for the Romanovs' failures. Even as the nobility conspired against him, the Romanovs stood by Rasputin, clinging to the belief that he alone could save Alexei and secure their legacy. Little did they know this loyalty would only lead them further into isolation and disaster. The myths surrounding Rasputin are almost as powerful as the man himself. First myth: he was never an ordained monk. The nickname Mad Monk was propaganda. Second myth: though his appetite for drink and pleasure was real, the stories of orgies and seduction were grossly exaggerated. Perhaps the most dangerous myth was that Rasputin wielded supernatural healing powers. His real gift was the ability to calm Alexei, and by extension, Alexandra. But for those who feared him, it was easier to believe in magic than in psychology. Rasputin's story became a symbol of the Romanovs' excess, an easy target for both revolutionaries and aristocrats alike. The real tragedy? Rasputin was not the cause of Russia's downfall, only a symptom of an empire already in decline. By late 1916, Rasputin's influence over the Tsarina Alexandra had pushed many in the Russian aristocracy to their breaking point. With Russia's war effort collapsing and whispers that Rasputin was driving the empire toward disaster, several nobles decided that he needed to be eliminated. Prince Felix Yusupov, Vladimir Purushkevich, and Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich led the plot, believing that killing Rasputin would sever his influence over the royal family and save the monarchy. On the night of December 16, 1916, Yusupov invited Rasputin to his palace under the pretext of meeting his wife, Princess Irina, whom Rasputin had long wanted to meet. Although Irina was not actually in St. Petersburg, Yusupov created the illusion of a gathering by playing music and setting the upstairs rooms to look like a party was in progress. The conspirators led Rasputin to a basement dining room, a cozy space prepared with pastries and wine, two of Rasputin's favorite indulgences. Both the food and wine were laced with cyanide, which they expected to kill him quickly. But to their horror, Rasputin ate the pastries and drank the wine without any visible effect. Yusupov, growing more anxious by the minute, excused himself to confer with the other conspirators. Returning to the basement, Yusupov found Rasputin admiring a crucifix on the wall. Seizing the moment, he raised a revolver and shot Rasputin in the chest. Believing the mystic was finally dead, Yusupov left the room. But when he returned to check the body, Rasputin suddenly opened his eyes, leapt to his feet, and attacked Yusupov, clawing at him with terrifying strength. Yusupov fled the basement, screaming for help. Purushkevich fired 2 more shots, and Rasputin collapsed again. Still fearful, the conspirators wrapped his body in a rug, drove to the banks of the frozen Neva River, and threw him into the icy water. Later, autopsy reports revealed that water was found in his lungs, suggesting that Rasputin was still alive when he hit the water. This chaotic, drawn-out murder only added to the legend of Rasputin. How could a man survive poison, gunshots, and drowning? Was he truly unkillable, or had fear and paranoia driven his assassins to exaggerate their accounts? Regardless of the truth, Rasputin's death did not save the monarchy. Instead, less than 2 years later, the Romanov dynasty collapsed, just as Rasputin had foretold in his final prophecy. Before his death, Rasputin left behind a chilling prophecy. If I am killed by aristocrats, the Romanovs will not survive more than 2 years. Less than 2 years later, the Russian Revolution erupted, and the Romanovs were executed. The prophecy came true, but was it fate, foresight, or coincidence? The Romanovs carried their loyalty to Rasputin until the very end. Even at the time of their execution, the Romanov daughters wore amulets with Rasputin's picture tucked inside. Was Rasputin truly a mystic, or just a man who saw the writing on the wall? Rasputin's story is a riddle wrapped in myth, where truth and fiction blur together. He was a healer, a sinner, a prophet, or perhaps something else entirely. But what do you think? Was Rasputin a misunderstood visionary, a dangerous manipulator, or a scapegoat in a crumbling empire? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories from history's darkest chapters.